question, any government that robs Peter to pay Paul will have the full support of Paul. So the question is, how does the Republican do Democrat?
I think it's very easy, and actually I would make the same pitch in the primary. It's, do you want the status quo or do you want change? And we're going to have an opportunity. Lieutenant Governor Cherry is going to do status quo. His idea of change is going to be at best around the edges. And I can tell you that I will bring dramatic change. And I will bring leadership to it. And the way we beat a Democrat in 2010 is the same way we always beat Democrats. Not be afraid to speak our mind on what our principles are. Not be afraid to talk about economic liberty. Not be afraid to talk about how some institutions matter and that conserving, saving some social institutions matter in the long run. Not being afraid to talk about the value of personal responsibility. When I talked earlier about, we spend $50 million a year every year on folks who have been on Medicaid, actually on welfare for over 4 years in a row. Think about how destructive that is on them as individuals as well. I mean, it's not just a tax dynamic. Can you imagine being an able-bodied adult and you've been on the dole for over 4 years? What that does to your sense of dignity and self-worth. So simply, we ought to be talking about the things that the Republican Party is always facing. And we believe that more economic liberty means more freedom. We understand that there's a tie in America between political freedom and economic freedom. And what's interesting enough, if you see what's going on in Iran and in China, wherever there's these sort of starting uprisings or people starting to exert their political rights, it's usually, their economy's been freed up, and there's this tie there. So we ought to be talking about freedom. We ought to be talking about personal responsibility and the timeless values that we stand for. That's in the more obtuse way. In the very direct way, the conversation is: are you satisfied with where we are? Are you satisfied that we have the highest unemployment rate in the country? Are you satisfied that 681,000 of our fellow citizens, adults, are looking for a job today? Are you satisfied that the arsenal of democracy was reduced to last week with the governor almost begging on her knees in public at this national summit to an Obama advisor to make us a pilot project? We have to rely on ourselves and build ourselves back up. And that's really a Republican thing. And it's simply this: on November 2nd of 2010, when voters go in their ballot boxes, am I satisfied with the way the state is right now? Or am I not? It's that simple. Ronald Reagan put it: are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? And that late 70s, 1980 metaphor is very relevant, very real today. And that's the simple question: are we better off? Do we need to make dramatic change? My oldest daughter is 26. She lives down. She's married and has a 2-year-old. She lives down south. That's not she met her husband in California. He's from Mississippi. They wanted to move back this way. And he had a better argument to make in terms of, will we be better off 5, 10, 15 years from now in Mississippi or Michigan when they moved 2 years ago. And I want to change that dynamic around. I want it so every U of M graduate can choose to stay in Michigan and have a great job here in Michigan. I don't care if that's a University of Michigan graduate, or a University of Miami, Florida graduate, a University of Massachusetts graduate, or a University of Montana.
We chose Mississippi over Michigan.
You heard about our divorce courts?
Long ago.
Well, essentially, they live outside